Okay, welcome everybody here in the store. Thank you so much for showing up for this 3 o'clock playing, and everybody online. Welcome to the live stream. We're here at Townsend's in the store. We got Rick and Hillary of Jim's Red Pants, and they're going to be playing for us the whole set of Vickers tunes. Are you going to throw in any other ones? No, it's just Vickers tunes?
You never know.
Okay, so we're going to see what they're going to play. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of the way and let them play. Enjoy this music.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ready, go. Those were 2 jigs from the Vickers collection. The first one is called Dainty Davy, which I think is a great title. And the second one is the little bit more body title, Tumble Her Over Again. This collection of tunes dates, the youngest tunes are from 1770, and they go back quite a bit older. Some of the earliest recorded versions of tunes that we still play today are found in this collection, which is collected around the Northumbria area in England, Yorkshire, Lancashire, and goes up to up into Scotland. There's some tunes from France, a wide variety of what he calls English country dance tunes, or just country dance tunes. Okay, this one, speaking of English, is French, a cotillion. What often danced at the end of an evening's entertainment. Kind of a follow the leader thing. The lead couple would come up with moves and everybody else would copy those. So the cotillion. Ready, go. loaned us this book. Well, not this one. I was going to tear it up, so I got my own. But he loaned us a copy of this Vickers Tune Collection, and it has some really interesting tunes. Many tunes that I had never seen anywhere else. He calls them country dances, and one of the big differences that I noticed between these country dances that are all prior to 1770 and the country dances we do now is that when we play with the caller now, they'll say, give us a reel. We'll take a reel. Oh, let's use a reel. And in this book, there are very few reels. Almost all of the tunes are jigs or slip jigs, which is a 3/4 kind of jig. And it's really surprising to see that we've changed from the triple to duple meter for the way we dance in that time. Our performances of these tunes are really a lot more about the way we listen to them. If we were playing for dancers, we couldn't play as fast. We'd have to stay steady. We couldn't really pair up too many jigs and reels together as a set. But since we're doing it just for the joy of listening and for us the joy of playing, we can mess with the tempo all we like and play things differently than we would if we were actually playing for a dance. So this is the title tunes from our CD, Whitby Pier and Whitby Abbey. Whitby Abbey is a real place in Yorkshire. It was built around the 8th or 9th century, was a monastery, then it was slipped into ruin, and a private family bought it and built on living quarters, and now it's a complete ruin with just walls kind of randomly standing up, and it has the dubious distinction of being one of the settings that Bram Stoker used for Dracula. And they still do like really creepy things there. So if you're into the creepy vacation with scary stuff, and then this might be the place for you to go. Whitby Pier and Whitby Abbey.
find online, which didn't exist during this time period, but in the future you'll be able to find online William Vickers handwritten manuscripts, and they're really interesting to look at because they're really fastidiously drawn. I mean, his manuscripts are really neat and really, it's like writing from that time period where people took it as a form of art, and that's what his manuscripts look like.
Mine, I have to get them just enough so that I'll be able to read them till I memorize the tune. Thankfully, he was a little bit more generous. The tunes that we're going to play for you now are Cold and Raw, also known as Juice of the Barley, Oil of the Barley, or Up in the Morning Early, and that has words. Then the second tune is called The Basket of Oysters, or you will probably recognize the tune as Greensleeves. It's the earliest version that anyone's found so far. This is the earliest recorded version of the tune. It's been around a long time. Many people have laid claim to it. And part of the reason we know that is that it has all of these other titles too. In addition to Basket of Oysters and Greensleeves, it's called The Auld Wife and the Haymow, Back o' Pipes, Patty the Weaver, The Bunch of Roses, Christmas Day in the Morning, which seems to have been a particular favorite title because there are lots of tunes that have that title. Greensleeves, with just an I, no E's. Greensleeves and Pudding Pies, Greensleeves and Yellow Lace, I'm a Silly Old Man, and The Shady Lane. I'm not the silly old man, though he is. Okay, Cold and Raw. Ready, go. So that first tune is the one that has some words to it, and they're, I cannot go home, I will not go home, till I taste the juice or the oil of the barley. I'll tarry all night with my heart's delight, and go home in the morning early. We personally question how early he got home.
Except it'd be Arlie.
Early. This is a set of reels. The first one's called Lady Macintosh's Reel, or Knit the Pocky, which I think is a much more fun title. And the second one is called the Butter Clout, which is a cloth to wrap around like a boiled pudding. So this is the butter clout, also known as the tailor's button. Thank you.
CD.
Yeah, we should give away a CD. And we brought with us a few little door prizes. So I think that the first door prize should go to someone whose birthday is closest to today. Someone in here has a birthday
Somebody
that's...
has a February birthday?
Anybody in February?
January, late January?
No, we got a February.
Oh.
Come on up, you won the prize. If you just reach in that box.
So for your 29th birthday,
Just reach in there and you have to unlatch the little things in the front. Pull that thing off the top. There you go.
there's 2 to choose from and several copies of each.
So this next tune that we're going to play is a really unique tune. I haven't found any others like it, and I think it's delightful. It's called the Reed House Rant, and Vickers describes it as a jig divided 12 ways. It has a little bit of the perpetual motion. The rhythm never changes, but the emphasis does. So, it'll go in groups of 2, and then it'll go in groups of 3. And I just find that really charming. So this is the Reed House Rant.
I think they use this to hypnotize people. I'm not sure.
Ready, go.
you.
The instrument that Rick's tuning is called a bouzouki. It's kind of a member of the Cittern family, a little bit like a mandolin. You play it with a pick, a plectrum, like you do a guitar. And the tuning is, in your case, are you playing GDAD? And the top two strings, two courses of strings, there's two pairs for each note, are in unison. And the bottom two courses of strings are in octaves, like a 12-string guitar. So they share a note name, but they're an octave apart. Or somewhere or near an octave apart. Okay. We're going to play a slip jig and a jig for you. First one is called A Mile to Ride, or The Fleet's A-Comin', Heathery Foldy, which I think is a delightful name, Ride a Mile, Riding a Mile, Stamfordham Hopping, Stanhope and Wardle, or Stannerton Hopping. And I don't know what a hopping is. I'm assuming it's some kind of a dance. The second tune is called The Quaker's Wife, and there are a huge number of tunes that are very similar, although not identical, that share similar titles, including The Humors of Last Night, Merrily Danced the Quaker, Merrily Kissed the Quaker's Wife, Merrily Danced the Quaker's Wife, Just the Quaker, So Merrily Danced the Quaker, and Wilkes Wriggle. Also, I'd forgotten about this one, Merrily Kissed the Quaker's Cow, which I didn't believe. I heard it for years, and then I found it printed somewhere, so I guess I had to give up on thinking that somebody made that up. Well, I guess somebody did make it up, just not recently.
Not the cow.
Not the cow. Okay, A Mile to Ride and The Quaker's Wife. Ready, go. I'm going to do a couple of reels from this book. There aren't very many in there. It's almost all jigs, but I did find a couple. The first one that I'm going to play is called The Miller's Daughter, also called Coming Through the Rye, or Gin a Body, Meet a Body, The Miller's Wedding, and My Dear Durst I But want to be romantic with you, they used a Scottish word that means almost that. The second is called the lass with the yellow coddy, the yellow coatie, the yellow cootie, the yellow coat, and obviously it's the girl with the yellow coat. There's just a bunch of different ways to say coat. So, the miller's daughter. you. One of the things that we get asked a lot is, how did we happen to come by our name, Jim's Red Pants? So, I'm happy to tell you. Jim was my granddad. Rick gets called Jim a lot, and he's okay with that. My granddad was a great guy. But my granddad loved bright colors, and the older he got, the more that bright color became just red. And he wasn't real picky about all of the different reds that he wore together. Anything that was pinky red would do. So we picked him up one day for Father's Day with my little niece. And he met us on the corner. We picked him up for breakfast. It was quite early. He was ready, waiting on the corner when we pulled up, wearing bright red pants and an olive drab shirt with saucer-sized fuchsia pink flowers on it and salmon-colored shoes. And my little niece woke up out of the back seat and sat up and took a double take when she saw him. He was just blinding. So Rick wrote a song that he called Jim's New Red Pants. And then we named our CD Jim's New Red Pants. And later on, when we wanted a band name, Jim's Red Pants came back, but they were no longer new, so we left that out. So that's the story of Jim's Red Pants. We're going to play Jig and a Reel. The jig is the New Haymakers, also known as the Foray. The Haymakers dance in Fortunatus. Who knew? And New Hay. The second one is called The Devil in a Bush, or Can Cauldrons Reel, Cur Cauldrons Reel, or The Parson in Ye Suds, or The Parson in the Suds. I'm sure they meant the bath. Ready, go. let's see here. We're going to give away another CD. So, who's the youngest? Who's the youngest person here?
Is anybody
that-
5 or less than 5?
How old are you? 4? Is anybody younger than 4? Can you win? Do you want to come pick out a CD and put it in your bucket? You're very welcome. As we went through this tune book that has almost 600 tunes, and I played every single one of them. And then we start, once you pick out the ones you like, you start trying to pair them up. But there were no slow tunes. They really were all dance tunes. So I made one a slow tune. Yes, we like slow tunes, and we felt like we wanted to put one in. So this is called Love Forever. Thanks.
This is another CD giveaway for who can guess this.
Yep. One of the tunes that we're playing is very, very familiar. You will have heard it, probably most of you will have heard it, learned it in music class, learned it in band or orchestra if you played an instrument in school. The title that we know it by, probably the oldest title, is called Love for Love. But if you want to win a CD, maybe you can tell us what the title that you know it by. And the second tune is a jig called The Couple of Pigeons. another
So do
set
we
of.
have any winners on the
Oh, yeah. Sorry, forgot about that. Who knows what the tune was?
very first tune? Have you heard it by any other name?
No? Sound familiar? I'll give you a hint. It's almost St. Patrick's Day. So you'll probably hear it then. You would have heard it in The Quiet Man. Really fast. They play it really fast in The Quiet Man. They're like. So this is
During John
the.
Wayne's fight scene. He had a rat in.
The Irish washerwoman. So next is My Wife is a Wanton Young Thing, also known as Bonnie and Smart is Katrina. My Wife is a Wanton Wee Thing. My Wife Cannot Be Guided. My Wife's a Galloping Wee Thing. No wonder she stayed that busy. My Wife's a Wanting Wee Thing. And the Taylors are Gone Staying Blind. So I think that means they're losing their eyesight. And we'll be wet in our old clothes. Then the second one is called The Queen Pot or the Quern Staff. And I think it's probably the favorite tune I found in this book. It's just a joyous jig. So, ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. These are two reels. The first one is called Chips and Shavens. And this is the only early version that's ever been found. I don't know if he wrote this or if he's just the only one who liked it at the time, but we like it. So we kept Chips and Shavens, and the second tune is called The Lads of Our Alley. Some similar tunes have very different titles. 4 and 20 Highlandmen, The King of France's Jig, The King of France ran a race, Lady Doll St. Clair's Reel, or Lady Sinclair, and Miss Henry Mackenzie. 2, 3, 4. To tell you a little bit about us, I've played music all my life. I started on piano before I can remember. I learned how to read music before I learned how to read. As soon as I got to where I could play an instrument in school and not take piano lessons from my mom, I switched to flute. And then we moved out to the country, and there wasn't an orchestra, so I played tenor sax and French horn and tuba and flute and just about everything there to fill out when we didn't have enough numbers in any section. And I took violin starting in high school, and that was my instrument. But now I teach violin and viola, mandolin, and together with Rick, we play historical things, but we also do weddings and libraries and just concerty kind of things. And we do songs that we wrote and contemporary songs. And there I play tenor guitar and tenor banjo and clawhammer banjo, as well as fiddling. I went to the College Conservatory of Music in Cincinnati and got a degree in music education, but I only taught school for a few years. I got carpal tunnel and hurt my shoulder, and I just wasn't willing to give up playing to keep teaching in a classroom. So that's my musical history. Over to Rick.
Mine is, I played trombone and had lessons in playing trombone, and band teacher was glad when I gave it up and took up guitar. And it did help me be a better guitarist because I was able to kind of hear low end tones and keep a nice bass going on the guitar. But so fortunately for the music world, I gave up trombone, played guitar, learned mandolin, was really influenced by my uncles and my grandmother, who were all great musicians. Now I play mandolin and bouzouki and English concert or Anglo concertina, and dadgad guitar, primarily dadgad guitar, and climber banjo and some other things. So.
I guess we're easily bored.
Unlike Hillary, I've never had a lesson. I've always just kind of taught myself, and so I tried fiddle, and my first fiddle I threw against the wall and broke it after I realized I was never going to be a fiddler. And then I tried again, and I played fiddle until I developed tendonitis from really horrible form because I didn't take any lessons.
He's a good old-timey fiddler. He doesn't give himself credit, but the poor guy, every time he gets a decent violin, I sell it to one of my students.
Well, you won't sell the one I have now. It's horrible.
So here's a couple jigs. The Lads of Duns and Seeking the Galloway. Ready, go. Do you want to say anything as we get toward the end here? You don't want to say anything?
You're doing great.
Okay, then we're going to play.
We should do another CD giveaway.
Oh,
We don't
another
wanna
CD
carry those
giveaway.
home.
Okay, let's see here. Let's say who came from the furthest away to be here.
100 miles,
It sounds like we're having an auction.
50 miles.
50 miles? 2 hours away? Anybody
hours.
drive more than 2 hours to get here? You're the winner. Come on up and pick a CD.
And in 200 miles, you can listen to that 4 times.
Let's hope you want to.
There
There's
are
two different ones. You
different
can choose what you like. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming all this way. We're going to play the last tune on our CD. This is called Bon Gal, or the Capuchin, and I have no idea what that means. And the second one,
It's a monkey, a type of monkey, I think, isn't it?
Is it? The second one is called Whipper and Gird Her, and I believe they're talking about a horse. But then it's called Whipper and Girder, like, building. So maybe it's about a ship. I don't know. It's also called Bonnie Lad, Will You Marry? Hoop and Gird Her, and Jockeys are Ranters, and Jenny's a Terror. Not terror, Tearer, not as in holy terror. So here we go, Bongal and Whipper and Girder.
These will go out in tune.
All right, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. You did such a wonderful job. Thank you for putting this music to our ears, because you know when I find a book like this, I can't do much with it. But you've done amazing jobs with this music. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this performance and coming all this way and performing. So thank you so much. And well,
Thanks for
and they
having us.
suggested it. It's like, hey John, should we do this? I was like, yes. Thank you for that. I want to thank all you folks that came all this way and come to listen to this music. Thank you for coming. Thank you everyone in the live stream. stream. There's like 350 people there watching live right now. So I want to thank you guys for watching live and all the great comments. I know some of you out there watch on the YouTube channel, so it's a lot of fun, and there's such a great audience out there listening to so many kind comments. So I want to thank everyone for all that you do, and I want to thank you guys for watching.